My fiancé moved her parents into my house without asking. When they took over, I changed the locks and called off the wedding. I'm 31, male, and up until about a week ago, I was engaged. Thought I had it all figured out, honestly. I'd been with my fiancé, let's call her Kay, for 3 years, and we got engaged a little over a year ago. I'm not one to rush things. I like to be sure before making big decisions, but man, I couldn't have been more wrong this time. I own a house, nothing crazy, but it's mine. Inherited it from my grandmother when she passed away, and it's got a lot of sentimental value. 3 bedrooms, a decent yard, and it's paid off. I spent years fixing it up, did most of the renovations myself. So it's not just a house, it's part of me. Kay had her own apartment, but about 6 months ago, she started staying over more and more until we just decided she should move in with me. Made sense at the time, or so I thought. The thing is, I didn't expect what came next. Last week, I came home from work, tired as hell, and I noticed right away that something was off. I heard voices from the living room, but they weren't Kay's. As I walked in, I saw her parents, her mom and dad, sitting on my couch, watching TV like they owned the place. And right by the door, 3 massive suitcases. "What's going on?" I asked, already feeling like something was really wrong. Kay came out of the kitchen with this big smile, like she wasn't dropping a bomb on me. "Oh, babe, I forgot to tell you my parents are staying with us for a bit. Isn't that great?" I just stood there for a second, trying to process. "Staying with us? For how long?" She waved her hand like it didn't matter. "I don't know, maybe a couple of months. Their house is getting some repairs done, and it's just easier for them to be here. Now look, I'm all for helping out family when needed, but months? Without even asking me?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You didn't think to talk to me about this first?" Her smile faltered, but she shrugged it off like it was nothing. "Why would I need to? They're my parents. It's not a big deal." I glanced over at her dad, let's call him R, who had his feet up on my coffee table, like he was in his own living room. "What's the problem?" he asked, giving me this smug look. "We're family now, right? We're not asking you to pay for anything." That's when I realized what was really going on. They weren't just crashing for a bit, they were planning to move in. Her mom, M, was already talking about how the house needed a few upgrades and how they could help me out by sprucing up the place. I felt my blood pressure rising. I looked back at Kay, hoping she'd see how insane this was. But nope, she was just standing there like everything was totally fine. She didn't ask. She just expected me to go along with it because they were her parents. And if I had a problem with it, I was the one being unreasonable. "We'll talk about this later," I muttered, trying not to blow up right then and there. That night, I barely slept. I just kept thinking about how she didn't even think to ask me. It wasn't about the house or even her parents staying for a bit. It was the fact that Kay didn't respect me enough to have a conversation. I felt blindsided. Like, when did this stop being my house? When did she start making decisions for the both of us without even thinking about how I felt? The next day, I tried to bring it up calmly. I told her I wasn't okay with her parents just moving in without any discussion. I mean, we'd been together for years, engaged, and we'd always talked things through before. But this was different. Kay brushed me off like I was making a big deal out of nothing. "Why are you getting so worked up? They're just gonna stay for a little while. What's the big deal?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Because it's my house, Kay. You can't just move people in without talking to me first." She sighed, rolling her eyes like I was being dramatic. "They're my parents, not strangers. Why are you acting like this is such a problem? You have plenty of space." I bit my tongue, trying to stay calm. "It's not about space. It's about respect. You don't just let people move into our home without asking me." That's when she got defensive. "You're being ridiculous. I thought we were building a life together, and that includes helping out family. You always say you want to help people, but when it's my family, suddenly it's a problem." And there it was. She turned it around like I was the one being selfish. I tried to keep my cool, but inside, I was done. I didn't sign up to be disrespected in my own home, but I gave it a shot. I figured maybe I was overreacting and things would smooth out. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad. Maybe I was just tired and overthinking it. I was wrong. Her parents started acting like they owned the place. Her mom constantly complained about the food I bought, saying it wasn't healthy enough, and started rearranging the kitchen. Her dad? He spent all day sitting on the couch, watching TV, drinking beer, and leaving his crap everywhere. I came home one day to find the living room trashed. Empty beer cans, socks on the floor, and her dad stretched out in my favorite chair like he was the king of the castle. "Hey, can you grab me another beer?" He called out when I walked in, not even looking up from the TV. That was it, the last straw. I waited until Kay went out with her mom for the day and her dad had gone to the store. I called a locksmith and had the locks changed. I couldn't deal with this anymore. When Kay and her parents got back later that afternoon, they couldn't get in. She called me furious. "What the hell did you do?" she yelled as I let them in. I stood there, arms crossed, ready for the storm. "I changed the locks," I said flatly. Her face turned red. "You can't be serious. My parents are staying here." I kept my cool. "No, they're not. Not anymore." Her mom jumped in, pointing at me like I was some kind of villain. "You can't kick us out. We're family." "Not my family." I shot back. "And even if you were, this is my house, and you don't get to just move in without asking. None of you do." Kay was losing it at this point. "You're overreacting. We can work this out. You don't have to be such an ass about it." I looked her dead in the eye. "We could have worked this out, but you didn't even give me the chance. You made decisions without me, disrespected me, and let your parents walk all over me in my own home. I'm done." Her dad, finally spoke up, acting all tough. "You're making a big mistake, buddy. You think you're going to find someone better than my daughter? Good luck with that." I laughed. Couldn't help it. I'd rather be alone than deal with this. I told them they had an hour to pack up and get out. Kay started crying, trying to guilt me into changing my mind. But I was over it. I'd given her plenty of chances to fix this, and she didn't care. Not about me. Not about us. Just about getting her way. Her parents were fuming, but they packed up and left, swearing at me the whole time. Kay kept begging me to talk, but there was nothing left to say. The relationship was over the second she showed me she didn't respect me enough to treat me like an equal. Since then, Kay has been trying to reach out, texting me, calling, saying she made a mistake, that we can still fix things. Her parents even called, acting like the whole thing was just some big misunderstanding. But it wasn't. It wasn't about her parents staying for a while. It was about the fact that she didn't respect me enough to include me in the decision. She treated me like I didn't matter. And that's not something you can fix with a few apologies. Looking back, I realized this wasn't the first time Kay had shown signs of entitlement. There were little things here and there, but I ignored them. I was in love, and I figured they weren't a big deal. But they were. They were huge. And now, I'm just relieved I saw it before I made an even bigger mistake by marrying her. So yeah, I'm single again and I'm at peace with it. Better to be alone than to be with someone who doesn't respect you. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them. So please leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more stories like this one.